Are you sick of all the gurus online talking about the BRRRR strategy, but really not talking about the BRRRR strategy? Do you want to know the truth behind the BRRRR strategy and how to successfully implement it with multifamily? Well, that's what we're going to cover in today's video, so strap in. For those of you watching for the first time, I'm Paul Macaluso, the Multifamily Renegade. I've been investing in multifamily properties going on 8 years now, and I've gone from zero to multimillionaire in that period of time by investing in multifamily, specifically with the BRRRR strategy, what we're going to talk about here today. Now, the biggest thing that I see online with these gurus and educators of one form or another that talk about the BRRRR strategy with multifamily or just the BRRRR strategy in general, they overlook and do not explain to you guys that the BRRRR is a process that has steps within steps. Now, if you're not familiar with what BRRRR means, BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. So it's a 5-prong approach, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, that has steps within steps. All right. So think about it this way. If you don't buy the property the right way, you're not going to be able to renovate the property the right way. If you don't renovate the property the right way, you're certainly not going to be able to get the rents that you want out of that property. And if you don't get the rents that you want out of the property, you're not going to be able to refinance that property. If you can't refinance that property, how are you going to repeat the process? And I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions that gets very overlooked or glossed over online, is people don't actually break down each step in this process. Another thing that I want you guys to consider is when you're doing the BRRRR strategy with a multifamily property, multifamily gives you a lot more control over this entire process than a single family residence, because in single family, you guys are bound by sales comps. So what property just sold around the corner is going to be basically what your after repair values are going to look like. Now in multifamily, your property's value is dictated by the income that that property produces. So being able to control and leverage the income that comes in from that property gives you a lot more control over the entire process when you get to the refinance portion of it. Now, if you guys mess one part of this process up, it's going to throw the whole thing off, okay? So if you don't buy it right, you're not going to be able to renovate it right. If you don't renovate it right, you're not going to be able to get the rents that you need. If you don't get the rents that you need, you're not going to be able to refinance. And again, if you can't refinance, you're not going to be able to repeat the process. All right. So when you fuck one part of this up, you throw the whole thing off. So you got to keep that in mind. Last but not least, in multifamily with the BRRRR strategy, what does not get talked about, I've yet to see a video about this. A traditional lender is going to want to see a seasoning period with that property after you've added the value. So if you buy the property, you renovate it, you rent it, before you get to the refinance portion of it with a traditional lender, you're going to have a seasoning period. And typically lenders want to see a year or more of seasoning with that asset before they decide or even consider doing a cash out refinance. Now, another thing that people don't really talk about when it comes to the multifamily BRRRR strategy is the lenders in multifamily typically will lend two different ways. They'll lend on loan to value or they'll lend on loan to cost. And this is a very important question to ask your lender when you're getting ready to do the refinances. What type of loan to value or loan to cost are you guys looking for or are willing to do rather? So just to recap what we've covered, the BRRRR is steps within steps. It's a process that has multiple steps with steps in those steps. So you got to make sure you get it right. Two, we talked about multifamily giving you guys more control over the BRRRR process. All right. Then we talked about if you screw one part of the BRRRR up, you're going to screw up the entire BRRRR. So you have to make sure that you got your things dialed in and you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, because if you mess up on one part of it, it's going to prevent you from getting to the next part of it successfully and actually overall being successful with the entire BRRRR strategy. Last but not least, traditional banks typically don't like to give you your money quickly when you do a BRRRR strategy in multifamily. So they want to see a seasoning period with that asset. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at your overall strategy and your timelines for implementation. So if you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up, drop a comment below, let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them for you guys. If you like this video and you want to make sure that you get more content like this, I try to drop 2 videos a week. So please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can make sure that you get all the latest videos as I drop them. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks again for watching. And this was the truth about the BRRRR strategy and multifamily investing. Hope you liked it.